WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American over here in Germany. This time not tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. I have early times, bottled and bond bourbon. This is the 2022 bottling. On the back it says here DSP-KY-354. So it was actually made at the Brown-Forman Distillery in Shelby, Kentucky. But it was bottled at the DSP-KY-12, which means here Sazerac. So this was actually bottled after it was then bought from Brown-Forman and bought by Sazerac. Now, I'm a little bit late to the party, I know, but this bottle has been sitting over here in Germany for over a year now and been waiting for me to finally find some time to do a video about it. And I bought this in America because we over here in Europe do not have this. The only thing that we do have sometimes over here is early times, old reserve Kentucky bourbon whiskey with 40%. That's all we get here. We do not get the early times bottled and bond. So I'm going to compare it to something we do get over here is the Knob Creek 9-year-old 100 proof 50%. Why am I taking this? Well, this is a $25 bottle in America and 1 liter. This is a €28 bottle over here and 0.7 liters. And I thought it'd be a little bit interesting just to compare two 50% whiskeys. Now, Jim Beam produces at 3 different distilleries, so you're very, very seldom going to see a bottle and bond anything from them because Kentucky straight whiskey can be mixed from any distillery in Kentucky and still be called straight whiskey, straight bourbon. Bottle and bond has to be one single distillery, one single distilling season, one single distiller. Has to be 50% and has to be at least 4 years in a bonded warehouse. Ta-da! That's what we have here. That's very, very good. What I think is very interesting, in the States, you have some very, very good products. So, yeah, it's not in my reach here. Wild Turkey 101 costs in America about $25 for a 750 milliliter bottle. Over here, it's about $30. Buffalo Trace bourbon with, in here we have 40%, or we have to go to the 1 liter 45% ABV. We're running around 34 euros for that. Old Grandad, bottled and bond, every once in a while we'll see it. It's up to about 40 euros over here. In America, it's $25. So, but we do get the 1 liter bottle. The Old Tub, bottled and bond bourbon, we've never seen over here officially. In America, Jim Beam, $23. And what we do get as a nice little 700 milliliter bottle is the Evan Williams bottled and bond. In the States, about $15 I read. In America, over here, we're at 28 euros. So we do have some products, some we don't. And so it's very interesting to see the differences. This is a absolutely cracker for the value for money. I do not give a B for a good value for money ever, hardly ever, and I'm going to give this right away. Now, if you look at the colors, this is Knob Creek and this is Evan Williams. This is Early Times. Early Times has a darker, redder color. Now, I think it has to do with the casks. Jim Beam might use more of the Independent Stave Company. I definitely know that they at Brown-Forman back then used primarily their own cooperage, the Brown-Forman cooperage. Many of you might know, many of you may not know. Brown-Forman did a lot of contract distilling for a lot of people, especially for Michters. So almost everything you've ever had from a Michters product was not made by the Michters distillery yet, but was actually originally made at the Brown-Forman distillery. Isn't that a wild, wild thing there? And so they don't talk about it, but it was all sourced. Now, today, it's different. They have their own, and I did a whiskey tasting over here, an online whiskey tasting. I took the old unblended, I took the new unblended, gave it to a couple people, and there was a definite, unmistakable difference in the product, and the old was so much better. All right, so we're not talking about Michters, we're not talking about Brown-Forman. Brown-Forman did sell off this brand together with Canadian Mist, together with, what was the other brand here? Collinwood and together with all the stock. Collingwood brands, Canadian Mist, and the all the stock here was sold off in the acquisition here. So that was around June of 2020. 2021, Sazerac announced that production has already taken place since last year at the Barton's 1792 distillery in Bardstown, Kentucky, and that the original recipe, the original mash bill, and even the original heritage yeast will be used for this. So I personally do not think that I would be worried about Sazerac screwing up the early times. Most of the Barton's 1792, most of the Buffalo Trace products are excellent. And so who knows? Who knows? But let's try these. On the nose, this is an awesome, awesome, deep, dark, rich, fruity, caramel, nutty, cinnamon, allspice bomb of a whiskey. And I would say this is a $50 whiskey, double the price, even almost triple the price because of the 1 liter compared to the 750 milliliter here of what I'm getting. I would easily pay $40, $50 for this product as a 750 milliliter bottle. Knob Creek and I are not the best of friends. I think it has an awesome value for money, and yet I just do not like the flavor profile. I would rather have a Buffalo Trace. I would rather have a Wild Turkey. I would rather have other products here. I'd rather pay a little bit more money and go for something else. It has maybe to do with the nuttiness, a little bit of that character of Jim Beam here. What's really freaking me out is this seems to be much younger than this on the palate, on the nose. It is a 9-year-old product, and yet it just doesn't smell like it. It smells like a 4 to 6-year-old product. It smells like a little bit of the Jim Beam white label on steroids. But it's really, I'd rather have a New Riff or other products than this. But I can't get a New Riff over here for 26, 28 euros. Bang, double that. 62, unfortunately. All right. But this is heavenly. This is so good. Why don't we have it in Europe? Sazerac, please bring Early Times Bottled and Bond to Europe. Please bring Early Times Bottled and Bond to Germany. I would buy quite a few bottles of that. I can get Eagle Rare 10-year-old for about 30 euros, so I'd always go for that instead, even though it's 45 instead of 50%. Cheers. That's almost a B plus. I'm gonna give it a B. It's a B plus whiskey. That's fantastic. I now understand why people are worried. This was the secret no one talked about, at least in the whiskey circles. People that were in the know knew, and they bought it. They bought the Early Times, they bought the Bottled and Bond, they bought the 1 liter, and they just kept it there, and they poured it from themselves and maybe for friends. But they did not go and herald it from the rooftops and say, this is the best stuff since sliced bread. This is so fruity. So much caramel, there's a sweetness without being overpowering. The 50% is just perfectly integrated. I like this much better than I do the Wild Turkey, and I really like the Wild Turkey. As I said, this is a B plus, a B for value for money. I really enjoy this. Now I understand why people are worried about it being screwed up, about some other company, even it is Sazerac, even it is Barton's 1792, messing with the recipe. Now, BreakingBourbon.com actually wrote, Nick Biter wrote a nice little review in December 29th of 2022, and he said here that this is a little bit fruitier. So a new blender and production team comes with inevitable changes, even if the existing stocks are still being used. And being bottled in bond presents additional challenges as each bottle must contain whiskey distilled by the same distiller in the same distilling season, which means you simply can't blend whiskey of a different distilling season, which equates to age, in order to adjust the resulting flavor profile, a common practice in the industry. So he says here that this has shifted. It's a little bit of a more fruit-forward moment, a little bit more sweeter, but also more unique. But the overall quality is the same. Probably one of bourbon's best kept secret. It's a solid, solid bourbon at a fantastic price point. And also, I am very, very curious of how this whiskey will change over the next couple of years. So they started in the fall of 2020, which means that the earliest that Sazerac can put out their own juice would be here 2022. So over here, sorry, 2024. Over here it'd be 2025. By the way, it makes it over here. I hope that we get some good juice from early times in the future. B plus in taste, B for value for money. This is a value for money, a B, B minus, and also the taste is going to be a C plus, B, B minus, minus for me. So what is your favorite early times Brown-Forman product? What do you think about the early times bottle and bond? Do you expect it to get worse, get better, to stay the same? What are your opinions there? WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American here over in Germany. Finally being able to taste this. Had to take it over my suitcase, or I actually shipped it over here, and this is something that I really, really enjoyed, and hope you have the chance to find a bottle of early times bottle and bond yourself. See you real soon. Bye-bye.